What we have here is a Saturn Vue Variator assembly that we bought used, and you can see that we took it apart because to inspect it, and it was not too clean. Now this is something you will buy when your Variator assembly is bad, if the bearing is bad, the planetary is bad. In our case, the planetary was bad. But you need to disassemble it. I don't care if you buy it for $700 off eBay or from a core buyer. They do not know what is bad on the inside. They only look at what is on the outside. The belt may be good, planetary may be good, but they will still sell it to you anyway. Well, in this case, we start to disassemble it, and when you do disassemble it, remember to tie the belt. As we took off one of the sheaves, the balls fell out, and what we're looking at is the balls. And if you look closely, you will see where the balls in this one that we bought, and we paid $475. We got it for a deal here, but the ball is starting, the outer shell of that ball is starting to break out. As you can see, it's not smooth at all, and it's damaged. And not only this one, there's the other ones are damaged also. So therefore, this was a potential problem waiting to happen. So we're going to eliminate those balls. Now, if you remember, I used what I used for the balls. Make sure you inspect those shafts also, which is the shaft where the balls ride. Also the sheave. Disassemble the sheave and look at that inside where I showed you where it scores a lot. Okay, so you have to take that apart. Now this is for one YouTuber named Sean. He wanted to know the size of the pins. Well, you can have the pins at 23 millimeters. Okay, 23 millimeters. This is the drill bits, the side of the drill bit that is solid. I cut that off, and I use tool steel or cobalt. Okay, now when you put this 23 millimeter drill bit that you have cut off inside of the groove, make sure that it is fastened down. You don't want it to be partially out when it's welded, or it will stay partially out and you will not be able to slide it. That ring that's around there, it's a stop for the balls. You can eliminate that ring or leave it there on this part of the shaft. Okay, but when you weld, you can move it to about right where it is now, and you weld on the inside here. You could TIG weld, or you might can MIG weld. The channel is deep enough where you can get MIG weld in there. However, don't let it overflow out of that channel, or again you'll have to grind something down so that the other part of the sheave can slide. Now on the other end of the shaft, or the pin, drill bit pin, it will come out to about there if it's a 23 millimeter pin, and that's where you want to weld it, at that tip there. Okay, you don't want to go too far up the shaft, but you want to weld it in there to keep it stable. Okay, and as I showed you before, you will have to take the ring out of the other sheave. If you look at the other videos, you will see what I mean. Take the ring out of that other sheave when you're welding the pin on there. One ring has to come out, the other one can stay in. This one can stay in. Okay, that's on this shaft here. Okay, alright, I'm going to put that down to the side. When there is another way that you could do for those who do not want to weld. or who cannot weld, and that is what you would have to do is take two of the balls and put them side by side and measure the balls. Okay, as you see now, put them side by side and measure them with a caliper, and then lock that caliper. Okay, this probably will be the method most will be using. Lock the caliper, and you have to get them where they're right beside each other, even and straight. And you see about 11.95 millimeters. Okay, you lock that caliper right there. Two balls together is about 11.95 millimeters. Okay, now what you want to do, you see that the balls, what they do when they're together and they bunch up, they ride on the shaft and they come to that stop. Okay, that stops them from coming out. And then when the sheave goes the opposite way, they roll the other way. Okay, and the other part, the other sheave, ring that's on the sheave stops them from coming out. Okay, now what you would do is take the end of the drill bit and you will cut it the same length of the two balls. Okay, cut it the same length of the two balls, and you would cut three of them that way and make sure they're even. Okay, and they're going to function like the two balls, and here you will see them here now. You have three evenly shaped little dials. Now this will work if the channels are not damaged too badly, and they're going to slide up and down just like the two balls will. Okay, and they will hit the stop there, and on the other sheave hit the other stop. Now this might be the method for those who don't have access to a TIG welder or MIG welder, or maybe you just don't want to do it. Okay, now this is the method we're using on another Saturn Vue. Okay, now here is the other ring, the stop that's inside here. That stop you take out if you are welding them at the 23 millimeter pins, using the 23 millimeter pins. You leave that ring on if you are using the small ones. Okay. Okay, now how do you put these in, the small ones? What do? You're going to need some Vaseline or some transmission lube. And here is one way of doing it, and that is you put the grease inside the channel here, as you see, and you stick the pin in so that it doesn't fall out. And you put them, three of them in each channel, one in each channel, excuse me. Okay, and then you take the sheave that comes off, and what you will do is line the channels up, and you try to press it down. You press them in, because if they fall out, you won't be able to get it down in there. Try to line them in and try to press it down. And this will take you some time. They don't go down, you will start to think, oh, these pins are too big. No, they're not. You just don't have them in the channels. They have come out a bit, they're cocked, and they're not, the grease is not holding them tightly against the other channel where you could slide, because it's a tight fit, but loose enough where it will slide nice and easy. So you take it off and push them back in. Okay, and then you try again. Push it down. Now, if that part does not work too well, what you can do is, and this method worked better for me, take the top cover off of the piston onto this sheave, and then you could actually see the channels. Okay, you can try to get it in this way. Now, and by doing this, it allows you to get a pick, and you can now actually try to pry the drill bits in with the pick if you can do it. If that doesn't work, then you can take, and this way worked better for me this time around, you can take them out and put them inside of the sheave. Have to put some grease in those channels, and then put the little pins inside. Okay, now you set it on. Now the pins are on the inside of that sheave, and you can see them. You can go down, and you can try to get them to go into the groove this way. Now you can take a pick, as I mentioned before, and wiggle them to try to make sure they go down inside like they should. Alright, now it went down. And then you move up and down to make sure it's sliding nice and smoothly, because it's going to slide just like the balls do. Okay, you can see this here. The next step is to put the cover right back on, and then once you get the cover on, make sure it drops down. You will have to tap it a bit to make sure that it's completely down. And then work the sheave up and down again to make sure that it is operating properly. And here you have it. Until next time, see you later.